All right, the Zargans. Zargan door fronts are metal. That's the side of the door basically. You've got the steel down below that's holding up a 3/4 inch thick bottom. You got the steel on the back, sporting a 3/4 inch back. You've got these big old nylon bushings that what they do, they basically spread the load of the screws, the little wood screws in the back, so you're not attaching directly to the wood, and that makes a much stronger connection. Here is the Zargan right there, 3/4 inch thick bottom. That's opposed to a standard, wood box with little old cheapy $1 door slides on them. A lot of people use these, use plywood to make their boxes, and of course they crack when you nail them, and pretty lousy drawer. The bottom's just stapled on, and just not a great drawer. You've also got your undermounts like this, big old thick heavy soft close undermount slide. Those are kind of pricey. They're around $30 a drawer. Time you build the wood drawer and buy the box, they cost you quite a bit, but they are soft close. Back to your Enid set. You'll notice that we've got raised panel ends on the glass cabinets and on the lower cabinet, and then over there you've got a plain end on your pantry. If you come around to the other side of the pantry, you'll notice that it's also plain sided, so you can kind of mix them. This is of course, maple hardwood, and this is an MDF panel, makes a really good raised panel. You got your slab door fronts. And then from there, well, these Enid sets, there's a pretty nice little set. This particular set's going to run you around $375 to $400 a linear foot. That's your uppers and lowers combined. And if you're on a budget, we get into the Okies. The Okies are, they're basically components that I pre-make, and I just assemble them when you need them. They're an MDF carcass. You do have hardwood on your rails so that they hold together really well. You got the same Zargan drawers, even though they're inexpensive cabinets. 3/4 inch thick bottom, nice and clean. The MDF doors are just slab doors. It's got the same nice hinges. You got melamine interiors. You got the nice suspension lock systems. Back behind there's a steel rail that's bolted to the wall, and then the cabinet just hangs on the rails. The MDF doors, they don't paint as well as the hardwood doors, of course. You can see it's kind of a little rough up through here. But they look good from a distance, and it's great for flipping a house or just an inexpensive home where you've got on a budget. If you got a budget and you need $2,000 or $3,000 worth of cabinets, this is the way to go. You can put Lazy Susans in them. That is a single Lazy Susan. You can get doubles. Most of them are doubles. Back over here we've got the same Oki cabinet and a little bit more expensive door. This is a 5-part door. However, the entire door is MDF, including stiles and rails. And they're not going to last as long. You're not going to get 40, 50 years out of one of these cabinets. These doors just, well, the cabinets will hold up, but the doors aren't going to last that long. You'll probably get 10, 15, 20 years out of the doors before you start need to replace them. But they're kind of designed as a, inexpensive option for people that don't have any other choice. Little broom closet there. And they're standard sizes, and you don't have a huge number of options, but you've got quite a few. They usually come in 1-inch increments from about 10 inches up to 35, 36. This is a cherry set. It's a rustic cherry set. It's got some pretty fancy drawers on it, which we don't really recommend. By the way, we don't recommend you actually put a door slide on here. People do it. We did it to show you, but the handle's better off up here. You've also got little interior drawers on these. They happen to be a side mount, but they're soft close. There you go. Your rustic cherry is going to add somewhere around $500 to $700 to an average set of cabinets. Your biggest expense is going to be your cherry plywood that you have to add to it. Not just the rustic cherry itself is pretty reasonably priced. What else we got here? Pull-outs down below. So those are soft close pullouts, by the way. A bunch of old fixtures there. Over here we've got an old world set. There's another set just like this out in the shop. These are old face frame cabinets, but you can make them look pretty nice. Of course, you can do this in a frameless cabinet as well. Here you got a little island, a little green island. Pretty grainy. Granite top. What else have we got? A little red oak island. It's got a really nice little glazed finish on it. Back to your cherry set. You got a big old fridge cabinet there. Now your crown molding is multiples. You've got a 5-inch crown on top. Then you've got some dentile molding sitting on a crown cap. And you can take these kind of cabinets all the way to the ceiling. It just costs you extra money to do it. Usually you'll be spending around 20 bucks a foot by the time you do even a minimal crown molding and a crown cap. Something like this, you're more like at 30 bucks a foot. And a little cherry quarter cabinet that goes with it. A little beadboard on the back. A little open display cabinet, including some curved work there. And here's back to your oven cabinet for this set. We use some melamine on the inside of the cabinets. We just happen to have some. And you're over to a pretty nice red oak set. This is a red oak which got some white glaze to it. It's a raised panel. It does have plywood carcasses. You can use plywood cabinets. We don't recommend it. And here's a good reason why. If you look at the reveal right here, you notice it's pretty uniform, and as you go up it starts to go in. And it would actually go in quite a bit more there, except we put a wood screw on the end of this shelf in order to adjust it out to force that plywood out so that it looks nice and straight. So you can use plywood in cabinets, it's just not recommended. Your biggest problem is where these screw holes are at. If there's a void in the plywood and you go to put that screw in, you're going to have to go make a new end panel. And by that point you've already finished the cabinet and the customer's waiting on you to show up to install them. So it's not good. We do not like the plywood if we can avoid it. These are the old side mount type slides. They work. They don't last as long as the Zargans or the nice undermount slides. You'll generally get 5 to 10 years out of these side mount slides before the ball bearings start popping out of them. Lazy Susan, except this is a shop made Lazy Susan. Not that you can see in there, but it's basically a 1/2-inch plywood with some legs, and it's got a 500-pound capacity bearing on the bottom of it. Then over here you've got a big white oak set. This is more of a Craftsman type look, and got a big old island. I think this was a Home and Garden Show sample that we did. A lot of the times when we did one of those Home and Garden shows, we'd just copy. We'd either take a set that was already built and we just held it off for a week or so, and instead of delivering it, we'd give the folks a free hardware, a little discount or something. We'd use it for the Home and Garden Show. Or a lot of cases like this one, we just copied it. We did a set just like it and we liked it, so we just made another one for the Home and Garden Show. But you got your big old peninsula type island there. This one has got the Nova Pro undermounts. I'm sorry, it's a Nova Pro undermount slide, but it's got metal sides, and they've actually got a plastic cover on them, and you've got a 5/8 thick bottom. What's cool about these things is you can unsnap that entire drawer front for cleaning. You just snap it off, and it snaps right back in place, and you can adjust it's got adjustment on it, so you can adjust the gaps and everything. Big old solid surface countertop, the solid surface sink. You've got when this thing is adjusted right, you walk up to it and tap it with your toe, and it opens the trash can. We don't use it enough to keep it adjusted. You got knife blocks, cutting boards that slide out. And these are again on your old side mount slides. You got pot racks that slide out. These are all Rev-A-Shelf products. They're not inexpensive, but boy, they're handy on small kitchens where you just don't have the room. What else you got? Over here you've got a mixture of 5-part end panels, even on the oven cabinet where it's cut up, although normally we would use a solid panel on that. Like this one over here. There's so little showing that just using a plain piece of plywood looks just fine, as opposed to this one. And we make them this way just so we show people, look, this is what you can do if you want to. You can actually make that into a 5-panel, but you're spending around $10 a foot for that, so just a lot cheaper to go with plywood. Of course, you got your pullouts again. And now this is actually a mixed drawer. This has actually got the Zargans on this too. So you can do that. You can mix your drawer slides and use side mounts. You can use under mounts. You can use a few Zargans. You can just mix them up. I especially like the Zargans where you got to have a lot of weight capacity. This little set shows how much extra material that we put into a cabinet. This is just a little old island sample that we made, mainly to have a black sand-through finish job. And if you look at it, you've got applied end panels, which means the end panel is twice as thick. And notice how that end panel comes out past the drawer face just a little bit, because it hides the gap on the drawer. And it also makes this end panel replaceable in case someone rams into it with a dolly or refrigerator when they're putting your appliances in. You can replace it easily. You can double bulkheads. You notice how the drawer slides are fastened directly to the bulkhead. They're not out there swinging in the wind on some kind of a plastic bracket. All in all, you can take these cabinets and you could put a granite top on it and not have to worry about it. We do have the capability to making these arch doors. We don't really recommend them because they kind of something that happened in the 90s, and they're hard to keep them clean. Most of these are maple, or some of them are even pine. I mean, they're just showing the type of door. Not that I would ever use pine for a door, but they make good door samples. And that's pretty much our showroom. Usually, if you show up, we may have a set of cabinets, out there in the showroom that are in the shop waiting on delivery, or maybe we're in the process of finishing, so we can usually lead you, walk you through and show you some actual cabinets that are about to go out the door. Not always. Catch us at the slow time, and nothing to see out there but dusty and equipment and sawdust. But we can do anything from the nicest cabinets you could imagine on down to the little Okies where you don't have a lot of money to spend. But even the Okies, that's a really nice looking cabinet. You could put that in Nichols Hills and sell your house and get away with it. Come and see us. If you have some drawings, please send them to us. Even crude sketches. It doesn't take much, but we need to have some idea of what we're making so we can figure the labor and material. If you do happen to measure your kitchen, just get close. Get it within 6 inches, and we'll come out before we cut any wood and take any money. We'll come out and double check everything. And for instance, like over here, you'd want to measure between the wall on the left, and assuming that was a window there in the center, you'd want to measure on either side of the window so that we would know where to place the cabinets. Measure the overall length of the cabinets, like to this doorway. You'll notice we're really tight up against the door right there. You normally wouldn't do that. I had to cut the trim down on that one to make it work in this process. But just do your basic measurements. Measure your ceiling height. If you're going to the ceiling, just measure it in one place, and we'll figure out if the ceilings are level later on. We'll measure it in several places. And just get us some basic information. If you don't have enough, we'll ask you to go back and make a little bit more. And email those to us. Pictures help. Now, if you send us a picture, point out on the picture what you like about it, what you're wanting us to copy, because sometimes you can get pictures that are showing conflicting information. So be specific, and we can get you a quote out usually in a few days. And as far as the cabinets themselves, it takes usually 3 to 4 weeks to build a set, finish it, and get it installed. Countertop might take a few days longer. We're on angelslist.com, although we will not show up. If you search for cabinet makers on Angie's List, we won't show up because we refuse to pay ad money. We don't think that's right. But if you search for the Carpenter Shop, you'll run across our work and our rating, which is usually an A rating. Haven't checked it in a few years, but I don't think it's changed since then. We got some pretty good Google reviews, a few crazy people on there too. People get mad on those chicken feeders that we sell. They'll get mad at you sometimes. So we also sell hardware. These are top knobs. And even though I'm a bit of a tightwad, I understand the quality of these things and how long they last. And the simple fact is, if you're building a really nice set of cabinets, you're going to have to spend some money on the hardware. You put something cheap on there, and boy, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So if you need us, give us a shout. Look on Facebook, look through our website. There's everything you could possibly want to know about building cabinets is going to be on that website. Ad nauseum on everything, and everything that even touches the cabinets, the hardware, the material choices, the machinery types, why we do things the way we do, finishing, you name it, and it's on there. And get in touch with us, and we'd love to have you come in the showroom and show you around and give you a quote on your project. Thank you very much.